Art Linkletter's House Party. From Television City in Hollywood. And now, here's the star of our show, Art Linkletter.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just a little flustered today. Generally, I'm not. I've been in this business a long time. In fact, I'm flustered enough I might drop an ad lib or two here and there because I'm so delighted and so tickled pink by our guest star today because she's an old personal friend. I've admired her so much through her career. She's beloved by everybody in Hollywood. She's the Goldwyn girl who became television's finest comedienne, Lucille Ball. Is with us. I love Lucy just as you do, and I'm so pleased that she can join us today. You see, Lucy and I are neighbors, too, on the radio. My House Party radio show and her show, Let's Talk to Lucy, are heard in the same hour on most of these CBS stations all over the United States, hundreds and hundreds of them. And Lucy and I, among other things today, are going to have some fun looking back on the days when we were first good friends years ago on CBS radio, long before television. We're going to show you how television, what radio did in those days. It's going to be a lot of fun. One of the most popular programs on CBS radio today is a very informal kind of show that's as relaxed and casual as its name, which is Let's Talk to Lucy. And you know, Lucy's guests are all kinds of guests, show business friends, and all the well-known people all over the country, and Lucy interviews them, which of course is really my business, and so it's my turn to ask all the questions, so let's talk to the gal you all love, Lucille Ball, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to hear that applause, isn't it, Lucy? Because that tells them that they love you. That's not demand applause either. That just came boiling up right out of the audience. No signs, nobody rushing back and forth giving them signals. In fact, interestingly enough, I introduced lots of guests on this show, and would it interest you to know that the only other person in the last 10 years that got this much applause like this was Dick Van Dyke. They love him, too.
I can understand that.
Dick is a very popular new star.
That's my favorite show on television.
Incidentally, you've done so much television.
I don't have time to see your show. I'm working.
I know you are. You work an awful lot. And that's
I work in the daytime.
Yeah, but I mean, people say, what is Lucy doing adding a radio show to the job of being the head of a big studio and doing a big television show?
Well, it gave me a chance to talk to people, my friends, like yourself, and interview them in a way that I think the audience gets a chance to meet them for the first time a little differently than they do in like fan magazines.
Mm-hmm.
I don't dig the fan mag type of interview.
It is kind of fakey, but yours, also the show, I think, gives you a chance to be yourself. And I think that's fun. Isn't it satisfying to say some of the things as Lucille Ball, not the comedian?
Yeah, now that I think of it, that was the reason I wanted it. Yeah, it's the first time I haven't played a character, that's right.
You can just be yourself. The
yes.
kind of gal that we all know here in Hollywood who is probably, before she's a star, is a mother, and a devoted mother. And your two kids that I've seen grow up, how old are they now?
Desi was 12 a couple of weeks ago, and Lucy's 13 and a half.
Oh, and are they showing any show business inclinations?
Yes, they're pretty hammy.
How can they fight that heredity?
They love to perform, they really do.
Any music?
Yes, Desi plays the drums, and he belongs to a combo or two and performs every chance he has. And Lucy's more reticent about it, but very talented.
Uh-huh. How are they in schoolwork?
B+.
Oh, then they don't ask their mother for help.
Yes, they do, and I can't help them with very much.
With a B+,
especially
I
the
know.
math.
The math.
I'm going to have to go back to school.
Well, now, of course, your family also includes Gary Morton, and he is your producer on the radio program, and
yes.
a great, big, tall, handsome guy. How'd you meet Gary?
Well,
in show business?
Yes, I was doing Wildcat in New York, and some friends asked us sort of a blind date, and I put it off for 3 or 4 weeks because, midnight after you've worked hard all day is not the nicest time to go out with a new boy friend. And so I sort of said no for a while. One night I was hungry and I wanted pizza, and there he was.
Yes, gastronomic romance. And now, of course, in addition to being on the radio 5 days a week, interviewing all of her friends and her family, which takes an important part in her life, in her studio, you've taken on a tremendously important job that I had about 3 years ago. Such a rewarding job. The national chairman of the Easter Seals. And as such, you're going to have a big thrill in a week or two, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Back to the White House.
Yes. And a few other places. New York, Chicago.
Mm-hmm. You'll be traveling. I think Hedda did it the year after I did it. And the year I was the Easter Seals chairman, President Kennedy was in the White House, and I had the thrill of meeting him and being photographed. And so the Easter Seals will have a wonderful chairman in Lucy, who does, of course, a lot of other charitable things. Are you a businesswoman? Do you really sit back at the big desk?
I sit back at the desk. But I listen a lot.
That's good.
And I cry a lot.
In a moment, Lucy and I are going to take you back to the early days of radio. Both of us were in that medium up to our necks before television ever came along. We're going to show you what a radio show looked like in the studio, back of the microphones, as it was being broadcast. And we'll be back in just a minute, Lucy. Now, here's a message about new Final Touch fabric softener.